and welcome to the 8th episode of Godly Table Talk.
Yeah.
Woo! So, of course, I have some dynamic women here with me today, and we're going to talk about the importance of your circle. So, before we get started, y'all know I'm going to pray. They're going to introduce yourself, and then we're going to get down to that tea. Okay? All right, God, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for who you are. We thank you for your only begotten Son. God, we just thank you for what you have done in our lives, God. And as you sit on this table today, God, speak through us, God. Use us, God. We are your servants. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. So introduce yourselves, where you from. And I want to know, since we talk about our circles, I want to know who is the most important person in your circle. Bev, no, Danelle, we're gonna start with you. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Danelle. Let's see. The most important person in my circle is my mother. She is number one. And not so much just because she's my mother. She is my best friend. She is a confidant. She's a prayer warrior. Um, she she just she's just amazing, and I thank God for her. She has shown me how to live a godly life, how to be a Christian, how to be Christ-like, and not just speak it, but actually walk the walk. And I'm just in awe of her, in awe of her walk with Christ. And if she can do it, I know I can do it.
Mm. Bev, what you got?
Hey, I'm Beverly, from Los Angeles, California. When I think about my circle, it's a little bit like, who is the most important? But honestly, what came to my mind, and this is because this person is my why, is my son. And I know when we think about our circle, we're like, oh, who are our friends? Who are our parents? Things of that nature. But honestly, I would say my son, because my son is my why. And so he keeps me in check. And he's also extremely supportive. My son is really one of my biggest cheerleaders. And so I would honestly say he is the most important in my circle.
Wow. Okay. Quincy, hi.
Hello, Quincy. I'm from South Carolina. Oh my gosh, I can't even think of who's the most important person in my circle because, and this is not a cheat answer either, I'm serious, but it's because I have a pretty tight friend group. Like, we don't even call each other friends, we call each other sisters. I'm talking about the college girls. And all of them, like, all of our relationships are so different, and they're all needed for different reasons. So I honestly cannot pinpoint and say who's the most important person in my circle, because they're all important, I promise.
Who do you call the most?
We call each other, like, I call them all the same. Like, it depends on what issue. Okay, all right, if I had to choose one, I would say Taisha. And
Okay.
it's probably because she definitely keeps me grounded in both the work world and the spiritual world, so to speak. So if I had to pick, it would be, and we grew up together, so it's almost like cheating a little bit.
So Taisha. Okay. Okay, that's cool. Okay, that makes sense. So ladies, I asked you the importance of your circle because a lot of people, there's sayings in the natural world where they say, change your circle, change your life. Your circle has a lot to do with how you move in the world. So my question to you is, where was there an instance in your life where when you changed or you added or subtracted someone from your circle, why, and then what happened in your life? Anybody? Bet.
I'll start it off. So for me, I'm a fairly attached person, and I'm a fairly really loyal person. So I never saw myself changing my circle. I never saw myself switching up. I never saw myself letting anybody go. However, the Lord, when he says it's time, it's time. And so at a particular point in my life, I had a very best friend and a circle of friends. There was four of us. And when I got saved, some things started to happen, and all three of those friends were no longer in my circle, to say, like, God removed them in a certain way. And so when that happened, obviously I was devastated, because I couldn't understand what happened. And it was at a very pivotal, hard time in my life. My sister had died, a couple months prior. And so when it all happened, it just sort of shook me. So in the time, I just couldn't understand why. However, now that I look on it, I realize that it was God, and he had to shift things. And it's not that there's any hate or the love is still there. And I do still, chat with, my best friend here and there, whatever the case may be. But it changed me. One, it made me dependent on God. I was dependent on my best friend before I knew God. And so it made me very dependent on God because I didn't have anyone. And two, it also elevated me because now opportunities that I necessarily hadn't had presented when I was in this friend circle were now presented to me. My life shifted in a completely different way. Certain other people started coming in. Kitty Rose, she came into my life, you know what I mean? And so that was the dynamic that switched and changed for me as my friend circle changed, which wasn't on my account because I was going to stay with them forever. However, God was like, I need other things to take place. And so that is pretty much what happened. And then there were a couple friends who he did allow to remain. And I understood that as well because they were encouraging my spiritual journey. And so that was pretty much how that worked for me. And, friends being subtracted and, friends staying.
I mean, that's the reality of when God was ready to go, they got to go. And a lot of times it's our fault that we don't really ask to know if someone is here for a season or if someone's here for a reason or if someone's here for a lifetime. And a lot of times we want people to stay for a lifetime, but that's just not the reality. Like people are, I mean, if Jesus can have a Judas, who are we? Like, I mean, Jesus said, greater works than I shall you do. So, I mean, if Jesus can have a Judas, then who are you? You're supposed to do greater things. So, Danelle, talk to me. What's the time in your life where either you added or subtracted a person, and like, how did it make you feel? We just having an honest conversation.
Truthfully, I would say someone was added in my life, and when this person was added in my life, the blessings not only came to me, but also came to my children. And you just never know why God allows you to go through certain situations, or you just don't understand it sometimes. Like, what did I get out of this? Like, God, okay, this happened, but what am I getting out of it? And I always try to look at whether things are good or bad. What lessons am I learning? And so this particular person, her name is Micaiah. She came into my life, and at a time when I was going through something with my daughter. And my daughter, she relates to people closer to her age. She relates to she feels like some people that are older than her don't really understand or can relate to what she's going through. And Micaiah had no idea of of the extent, and God allowed her to be in the midst when a situation occurred with me and my daughter, and she just immediately started praying, just interceding, like just right then and there, and just and talking to Peyton and just encouraging her. And right now, she'll answer Peyton's call before mine. and I love it, and that's that's what she really needs. And it's just a blessing. It's just, I don't even think she understands the extent of how much of a blessing she has become to me and my family. But Peyton is she's more open, she's much happier. And you mentioned Makaya's name and her face just lights up, so I right then and there, I know that she's in good hands. Like if I say, Makaya, look, could you just call Peyton? Because I'm just like mentally, I can't, just call Peyton for me. And she'll be like, all right, don't worry about it. And she'll call her. And I don't even have to worry. I already know God has worked it out. And so that's my story. And I thank you. And I love you.
Well, Danae, I remember that day when she, was going through. And I remember, I just didn't know what was going on. And I just remember just like, God, what's happening? And I did what my mom taught me how to do, which was pray. Like, that's all. I mean, you better learn how to get on your knees and figure it out, because I want to always be here to help you.
Right.
And so I remember that day. And wow. Yeah, I love Pepe. Pepe, okay? Pepe is Auntie's baby. And for her to be, she'll be 20 right in March, and I'll be 30. And she's quick to say Auntie, and I'm like, do you not know that I'm like 10 years older than you?
In numbers, yes, but by wisdom, no. You got like 20, 30 years of wisdom, child.
You'd be like, Auntie, I'll be like, yes, baby, and it's Auntie Makaya, I'll be like, yes, baby.
So sweet. So
I had to like get used to, being called Auntie, because I'm like, huh? Oh, it's me.
Right.
Yes. What's I do for you today? Quincy, tell me about the time someone was added or subtracted, and how did it make you feel?
So I have a mentor for work, and her name is Jackie Rose. And she was added to my life. I used to be dirt scared of her. She's so intimidating. And she's actually our regional revenue manager for our hotels. But I used to be so scared of her. But just because when she walks in a room, she owns it. Like she don't play no games. And it wasn't until I started actually talking to her that I realized like she was like everything about women empowerment. And so she gave me, like, she recognized confidence that I didn't have. Like, she recognized that I was over exceeding in my job just as a front desk person. And basically she gave me the tools to become a manager, and still my mentor to this day. That's actually who I went to see in Greenville, but when I got caught in the rain. But yeah, so Jackie Rose, definitely grateful to have her in my circle. But she gave me, like, her conversations always give me like a boost of confidence. We need it all the time.
Wow. That's awesome. I love it when mentors are hard to come by, and not just false mentors, but true mentors that want the best for your life. Not their thought process, not what they believe, but actually someone that can, to me, the greatest mentor is someone that can stand in the gap for me.
yes.
When I'm down and out and I'm feeling, or the devil is really beating on me, can you stand in the gap for me and stand and fight for me? Because at this moment in time, I cannot fight for myself.
Right.
Because the devil has really done something in my life that I've never seen before, and I wasn't ready for it. So I'm gonna switch it. So let's talk about relationships. So tell me about a time where a guy was deleted out of your life, and you didn't, at that moment, you didn't feel like it, but looking back now, what can you tell people that are in toxic or terrible relationships? Like one piece of advice you can give them if a guy has to be deleted from their life.
Let it go.
I'm so glad you said it. I was thinking that in my head. Let them go. Let them go.
Like,
that is the thing.
Makaya, honestly, at this point, if somebody is sitting here watching this and they're thinking like, maybe I need to let them go, like, they already know they need to let them go. We all were there when you knew it was time, it was done, and you force it. Just let it go. And I
Oh,
promise, like, it'll be
yeah.
fine. It'll be
Yeah.
fine. It's gonna
Yes,
work. It's okay. It's work.
I mean, all of y'all are like single parents of my own. Like, talk to single fathers and parent of my own mothers. Like, talk to these people. Help me. You know, like, what is one piece of it? I mean, Quincy said, "Let it go." Man, what you got?
that was Holy Spirit
LIG, right, Quincy?
my head. Yeah, let it go was in my head. Let it go for real. Because I look back on every single guy that I dealt with that had to be let go. And I'm like, if I would have just let them go when I knew to let them go, it would have caused me I would have had so much less pain. I don't even know if I said that correctly,
Yeah.
but I would have not had to deal with as much pain as I did, when finally everything erupted and I had no choice but to let them go. So when you get that feeling, I know we call them red flags, but I honestly think they're warnings from God. It's God telling you that is not who I have for you. That is not who I have for you. That is not for I have for you. And then he's like, all right, well, you know what? Since you want to go ahead and continue, then, I'm going to let you continue. And then when you fall, I'm right here, but I did try to warn you. And so when you get that feeling, we have that gut feeling for a reason. It's like this person is not for you. And so every single person I've dealt with needed to go. But I mean, the most relevant one, and I won't say most relevant, but I mean, the one that stands out to me is the last one, and that's because I was over it completely. And then I was led to, Jesus came and picked me up. I didn't even know him. So for that, it's like, yeah, it hurt. I mean, that was a pain that really hurt because I was so giving and I was so caring and I was, and he didn't care. It was like, oh, well, you did all that nice stuff for me. Like, I didn't ask you to. It was like, just, he tore me down, that it was like, oh my gosh. And then Jesus was like, okay, finally, now I can come in because you're at your lowest of low. You can't go nowhere but up. So finally, I can come in and show you who I am. And it was like, angels singing. And it was like, oh, okay. So, even through that process, of course, it still hurt. It was still hard to forgive. It was still like, okay, I don't want to. But looking at it from right now where I am, it's like, oh, you know what? As much as you gave me those warning signs and I could have followed them and not experienced that pain, I'm going to just say, you know what? I was led to Jesus. So, all right, cool. It's a wash. Fine.
Yeah, you brought up something so very important, which was when you're at your lowest of low and you can't go any lower. That's where Jesus comes in. I mean, this is a person that has been saved 2 years, right, Bev? You just had your 2-year anniversary. When you're at your lowest of low and you have nowhere else to go, turn to Jesus. Allah can't do it. Buddha. Turn to Jesus. We are living in an age and in a society where people, I believe in God, but I don't believe in Jesus. You need Jesus. Turn to Jesus. Even in my own heartbreak, I am on my knees reading the word. I am turning to Jesus. Turn to Jesus.
Yes. The only way you'll be sustained, the only way you will be able to make it, the only way you will wake up to be able to go another day. You know what I mean? Even if that another day looks like just you laying in the bed and not feeling good, you still turn to Jesus and he gonna get you to the next day and the next day, and then you will be picked up. Like they say, joy comes in the morning. It may take a whole lot of mornings, but baby, if you look to Jesus, it's gonna come in the morning.
And you appreciate it so much more, like way more than you would have had you not going through that little struggle. Like, you appreciate it so much.
That's true. That's good.
The word says in 2 Corinthians 4, right? 4 and 8. We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed. Always bearing about in the body the dying of the Lord Jesus Christ. So these are things that are promised to you in the body of Jesus Christ, right? You are troubled on every side, but yet you're not in distress, right? You are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed.
Absolutely.
So whatever you can be in life, right? People leave your circle, people are added. Your circle should be forever evolving because you change your circle, you change your life. So no matter what you have going on in life, and in your heartbreaking, your pain, and your waking, your in this is something that's promised. I can be cast down but not destroyed because of Jesus, right? I'm at my lowest of my low, but because of Jesus. I remember I was talking to one of my she's like a acquaintance, and she was going through something really, really bad. And she had like a mental breakdown, but I didn't have one. We were going through something at the same time, but I didn't have one. And it just reminded me of, but I have Jesus.
The difference.
There's a difference with him and without him. There's a difference.
Yes.
Okay, man, please. Right? There's a difference, right, man?
Oh, it's a big difference. Heck yeah. Oh, yeah. You could look at my life before Jesus. It's like even getting through things, you handle things very differently. The world is over. You are sad. There's no positive moment. You feel like you never gonna get it. Breakdowns happen versus with Jesus. It doesn't mean that the trials are not gonna happen. It doesn't mean that you're not gonna go through some tough times, but how you handle them with Jesus is completely different. You will pick yourself back up. You got that hope. You have that, okay, I know it's going to be okay because I have Jesus. I know the Lord is going to make sure I'm okay. So you press through in a different way with Jesus versus without Jesus. So absolutely.
And that's why your circle is so important because, even on Sunday after a godly table talk, even Quincy had to make me have a come to Jesus. And and Quincy she had spit some good advice. She said, Micaiah, I cannot even imagine being you. But what I can tell you is, to whom much is given, much is tested.
Woo! Come on, Quincy. With that. That's good.
Deep, right? And literally, I got up, brushed myself off. I said, to whom much is given, much is tested. And that's what I have said on all week. To whom much is given, much is tested.
Yeah.
Because we need to make a shirt. Like,
listen,
given, much is
whole
tested.
T-shirt.
Like, it's not only is it required, right? Too much is given, much is required, but it's also what? Tested. Because we tested.
Yep.
To require it, you have to test to get the aid.
You gotta go through the fire to get that much to get that much.
So your circle is so important. Like, it's either you can have people that can put you down, and I'm talking about way down, and drag you down with them, or you can have people that can build you up and say, hey, I know your worth. I see you. Now let's fix this together. And it's so important. Your circle can make or break your life. It really can. Like, the boyfriends you pick, the girlfriends you pick. Sometimes people are afraid to even cut off family members. Cut them people off.
Yeah, that's the hardest.
But it's what you allow. Do you understand? For me, it's what I allow. I'm allowing these people to stay in my life. I'm allowing them to affect me. I'm allowing these things. You have to cut people off. Sometimes you have to love people from afar. Honestly, for me, family, a lot of my family, I love from afar. I love them, but I love them.
Yeah, it can be draining.
Family members can be the most toxic people.
Yeah,
we have a lot of family members that they hold grudges. They just, if you see them how they interact with their people, they're laughing, joking, and smiling. But when they come into your presence, oh hey, and it's like, what is it? What is it? Deal with your issues. I'm not your issue. You need to deal with whatever it is. If I did something to you, speak on it. Like, I'm not walking around holding on to anything, because I'm the type of person, if I hold on to something, it burdens me. And you see it, and I can't deal with no more burdens. No, I'm not holding on to anything that is not going to benefit me. If you are harboring something, I did something to you when I was 5 or 10 or 15, and you still holding on to it, and I'm 49, that's on you. I can't help you. I don't
Mhm.
understand how people can walk around, especially family members. How do you walk around with that all your life? All your life, you're just walking around with this hatred, this animosity, this disdain for your family.
They don't know no better. They have no idea.
And it's like, my gosh, like you
idea.
have to release that. And I
Mhm.
pray all the time, you know, for different people in my family. Please let them release it at some point, Jesus, because you can't go to heaven with all that on you. You can't. I guess I won't see you because I know I'm gonna be there. I'm letting everything go.
We talked about that yesterday, Janelle. Remember we talked about bitterness spoils the root.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have bitter people around you, trust and know a lot of their relationships are toxic. They're bitter. If a
Yeah.
lot of their relationships with their mother, their fathers, their brothers, I mean, really look at the people that's around you. If they're struggling with relationships with just about everybody,
Mm-hmm.
probably bitterness because it spoils the root. It's a root. It will kill everything around it. So my question to y'all is, how do you love someone from a distance?
That's good. That's good.
I do it. I'm doing it right now.
How do you
Amen.
love someone? How do you love someone from a
I
distance? Like,
know, for real.
I'm doing it right now.
You like, what does that actually look like?
yes,
Like,
like how do you what does it look like? Like tell me like one thing you do to say I have loved this person from a distance.
I pray for them. I definitely keep
Yeah.
them in my prayers, for sure. I call their name out. And even if, you know, a phone call is to happen, you know, if I feel in the spirit to take that phone call, I'll take it. And if the conversation is positive, I keep it positive and light, and then we keep it going. It's not an everyday thing. It may not be all the time we're hanging out, but from a distance, if I allow the spirit to say, you know, okay, it's cool. It's okay to, you know, have this interaction, whether it's in person or on the phone. But the number one thing I do is I keep them in my prayers. I keep them at the top, probably because there's something that is going on that is making us love you from a distance. So I keep it at the top of my prayer list. Other than that, I'm moving on with my life and keeping it going.
Yeah. Checking in, keeping it short.
Yeah, there you go.
Keep it real short.
So like ladies and gentlemen, so 5-minute conversations. Okay, like loving from a distance. Hey, checking in, you alive,
Mm-hmm.
healthy, praying for you. Okay, bye-bye. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they can
That could
really
be a
like
voicemail. It could be a text message. You know,
Yeah.
I make it a point to let my family know that I love them, even the ones that can't stand me or don't want to be around me, don't want to talk to me. As long as
Right.
I know that I've gotten it out there and I've said it at some point, I just keep it moving. I don't hop on it. When I see them, I speak. If they choose not to speak, that's on them. But I can't live my life based on how you feel about me.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
not, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I know how he feels about me,
Mm-hmm.
that's all that matters.
There you go. That's
oh,
good.
okay, I got another question for y'all. Okay, here we go. Scholarly table talk. So let's be honest. How do you forgive someone that has hurt you to your core?
It's hard. Time.
What you say, Quincy?
Time. Time. Prayer, because it is hard. And especially if so I always say, like, if I address it, it's because I value the relationship for whatever, like, if no matter if it's a friendship. So if I address it and I feel the need to address it, it's because it's that holds that relationship, that particular relationship holds some weight with me. And if I address it and the forgiveness is there and it happens again, then that's like, it almost like hurts 10 times worse. So then I don't even feel the need to address it anymore. I just kind of let the time and prayer help me forgive, because then I leave it alone. I try not to, harper on it.
Okay, so time and prayer, and
Mm-hmm.
try not to stay in the space with it.
Right.
Bev, what you
Yeah.
got? How do you forgive someone that has hurt you? Like, y'all know when it's like soul cutting hurt.
Yeah.
It's so
Absolutely.
deep.
Deep. And this is coming from a personal testimony. Repetitive. You have to forgive them every day. Every time it comes up, you have to forgive them. Forgiveness is not a one-time thing. And I think sometimes we think, okay, I got to say I forgive them and then everything is going to be okay. No, there are going to be moments where that hurt still comes back up and you're like, I can't believe they really did me like this. You have to be okay with going to God and saying, you know what, God, I am still struggling with this. I do forgive them though. It does still hurt. So I need your help in order to continue to forgive them. And that's what it can sometimes take over and over and over again. And personally, it took me nearly over a year to forgive the person who hurt me. It took me over a year to even forgive my best friend who, you know, I felt like really hurt me. So it is not something that, oh, I forgive them and you know what, God, I'm gonna let you just heal me. That is not going to always be the case. You are going to have to go to the throne of grace and constantly say, Lord, I need your help with forgiving this person because it hurts. So I definitely think you should repeat it as much until you get to a space where you do feel at peace about it. And I'm giving another personal testimony. Like yesterday, the guy who hurt me to the core, I obviously distanced myself, obviously, and I forgave him. But you don't really know you forgive someone until you are put in the space with either hearing their name or, you know, maybe seeing them, you know, pop up. And so yesterday I had to ride with my aunt to go see a venue for her 70th birthday party. And I was like on my phone, I happened to look up and we were getting ready to pass by his shop that he owns. And like my heart kind of stopped. But then I thought about it like, no, we're not giving that power. Like, we're not tripping. So we ended up passing the shop and I was like, all right, cool. I didn't look or I didn't see it or anything, but I carried on about my day. But as we were going back, she took the same route. And this time I did look and I looked up at the shop and noticed he had a sign. I was just like, we kept going and it was like, it is what it is. I'm not tripping no more. You feel me? I wish you the best. And we good with that. So you know what I mean? But again, to get to that process, I'm going on 2 years of, you feel me, of after that hurt and pain. And that was a whole journey. So definitely forgiving every single day until you reach a peace.
Peace.
Mm-hmm.
That's deep. Peace.
Mm-hmm.
Janelle, what you got? What's the best way? You know, because people in your circle are going to hurt you. I mean, Jesus got that of Judas. I know that kind of was like, he wasn't even surprised. So sometimes we just surprised.
Yeah, taking back, clutching
Well, one of the
Clutch
most
your pearls, right?
pearls. How dare
Bless your heart.
You love me.
You were supposed to be my boo, you know, and you just like, what in the
What
is this?
Oh my goodness.
Now, what you got for us, you know, 49-year-old Janelle?
So this particular person not only hurt me, and you know, if you hurt me, I can get past that. When you hurt my kids, that's a whole nother situation. And it wasn't just so much prayer. Well, yeah, prayer did get me through it, you know, the support of my mom. But I had to really work on myself. And you know, as I was embarking on this journey to grow closer to God years ago, in the midst of all of this, I just had to ask God to work on me, right? Because I want to be Christ-like, you know, I want to do your will. I want to be able to minister to people. I want to be able to let my light shine, all of these things that you want to do. But you can't your light is dim if you're still in turmoil, if you don't have forgiveness, if you're still allowing someone to have power over you. And I feel like when you can't forgive someone, you're giving them power. And I'm like, no, I'm taking my power back. I can't allow anybody to have power over me. But then when my kids came into the picture and my kids were hurt, it's hard. You know, it's a hard pill to swallow. And I just had to ask God, because if I see this person, it's on sight. You know what I mean? Like, who got the bail money? Because it's going to be a problem. You don't hurt my kids. Like, what? This, you know, all bets are off. So I had to really ask God to work on me. You know, I still pray for that person. I still, you know, wish that person nothing but the best. But I had to ask God to work on me, you know, and not just forgiveness, not just forgiving that person, but just helping me in my spiritual walk. Okay. Because what if this happens again and somebody hurts me? You know, somebody always going to be out there trying to get you. How are you going to deal with it? So for me, it wasn't just a one instance thing. It was help me to be a better me. Help me to be able to cope, you know, because I've had instances where I was on a job and I knew I was doing phenomenal. And then all of a sudden I was painted as this person that I don't even know, never met her before. Like, who is that? You know, you're talking down to people, you're saying stuff, bad stuff about the job, and all these people went to HR. It was horrible. And I literally cried on this job at one point. And I was like, God, you got to get me out of this. Like, but for me, it's asking God to help me to be able to deal with these situations that come on where someone's out to get you, or someone's trying to hurt you, or you know, just ruin your life or whatever. That's the approach that I took, because I knew that this wasn't going to be the last time. You know, we this is the life that we live. There's sin. So with sin, you're gonna have hatred, you're gonna have animosity, you're gonna have anger, you're gonna have all of these things that people feel towards you. And sometimes you don't even understand why. You know, sometimes people are so wrapped up in their anger and resentment, they can't even see clearly. Well, they can't even remember, okay, why are you really mad at me? Like, what really happened?
Yeah.
They can't even remember, because you've been holding on for something for so long that you can't even remember what initially triggered you to have this feeling in the first place. And I did not want to be that type of person. That's why I always released myself. If you and I were to have words and, you know, we're like, okay, we don't see eye to eye, we're not getting anywhere. For me, you're going to get a call, a text message, a letter, a pigeon, telegram, something. Something is going to happen where I'm able to release myself and let you know, hey, I still love you, you know, even though things didn't work out. Whatever it is I have to say, I have to release it. That is just what I've learned in my life, going through turmoil, going through, you know, disappointment, going through heartbreak and all that kind of stuff. I have to release everything instantly, because I cannot have anything weighing on me. So going back to the, you know, the answer to the question, I definitely had to have God work on me. And so that no matter what situation I was put in, I was able to get through it, and get over it, and still forgive the person, but also wish them the best and move on with my life.
That's good.
That's deep. So, ladies, how important is it to be honest? We talk about people are not very honest these days. A lot of times people put up boundaries, and sometimes they even put on a show. But how important is it to be honest? Like, honest with your circle. And if the person in your circle doesn't like honesty, what do you do in order to make them understand that you want the best for them? Because every circle has different dynamics. Every person requires a different love. Everybody has a different love language. Everybody requires softer, you know, some people need tough love, some people need soft love, some people need rough love. Like, it just depends on the individual. So how important is the honesty in your circle?
Well, I am a firm believer in, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So, and I think that in order to, the honesty isn't an issue, but you have to know who your audience is when you're giving that honesty. And a lot of times this pops up with the religion thing. Because of course people who are walking with God might come off judgmental to somebody who isn't. So you just have to know your audience and know how they perceive you as a person in order to, because the honesty is going to be there. It's just how you say it. Like, and I think that matters more, understanding the audience and understanding when the time is right. Like, actually saying, like, if it's something that you feel like you need to address, and actually like praying to God and like, God, is this the right time to talk about this? This is really weighing heavy on me. Guide me to know when is the right time for me to even bring it up, because that issue, that one thing that you bring up and you're being honest about, it could just be bad timing for that person. They could take it the wrong way, and that can cause a real bad divide in a relationship that shouldn't be divided, just based upon how you're saying something to that person. So I think that's more important than anything.
The keeping of the relationship is very important.
Yeah.
That's deep. Bev, Danielle, what you got?
Um, can you come back to me? Um, uh,
Honesty. How important is the honesty?
um, I would say, you know, if I feel like I can't be honest with someone, then you shouldn't be in my circle. If I don't feel comfortable with you, then you're not in my circle. It's you're not you're not yeah, you're not in the circle of trust if I can't be honest with you. If I can't be if I can't tell you anything, you know, the people that are in my circle, I can talk to them about anything. And it's a safe space. If I can't feel safe in sharing my life with you, then it's a no for me. Yeah, it's just it's not possible because you know you need to have your circle where it's judgment free, where you feel safe, um, especially when you are dealing with everything that this world has, you know, to offer. That it's you need to be able to go inside someplace and feel like you're protected. You know, you have people not just going to bat for you, but they're also praying for you, they're also covering you. So if I can't be honest with these people, then those are not the people that I want praying for me and covering me and just having my back. So I think that, you know, that's very important that your circle be you feel comfortable and you feel like you can trust these people um to protect you, to protect your mind, your body, and your soul. Um, so yeah, that's my answer.
Bev, what you got?
Um, you know, as simple as I can be, honesty is obviously extremely important in your circle. It's extremely important, period. I think coming from a different angle as someone who makes people very comfortable to be honest and, you know, non-judgmental. On my end, sometimes I find it very hard to feel comfortable because of things that I've been through. So letting that wall down is sometimes challenging for me. And I recently just had a space where a friend and she's a sister to me. She's so good to me, except when I get into spaces where I need to be comfortable with her and honest about things that I may be going through, I clam up and I just go into my own zone, right? And it's like, I don't know. And I want to say it's not that I don't trust her, but it's because of what I've been through. But she made it a point to say, you know, like, she comes to me and she trusts me, so you know, give her the same respect, which makes clear sense. If someone is giving you a space to where they're showing you they care about you, they've made it very clear they care about you, I think it's important to be honest with them and go ahead and let that guard down, because disappointment may happen, but if you have discernment, you know, allow that honesty to freely flow.
That's deep. But you know, ladies, you all touched on it. You just didn't really say it. It's also important that God is in your circle. It's also important. How can two walk unless they agree? So it's very important that God is in your circle. We touched on it, right? We talked about prayer. We talked about sitting in the gap. We talked about all of it. We just didn't say it. It's important that God and Jesus is the heart of your circle.
That's real.
That's real.
Absolutely.
So, ladies, thank you so much for a great conversation. It's always a pleasure. So, my 3 takeaways from this conversation is this: 1, people are going to leave your circle and it's going to hurt, and it's okay.
It's absolutely okay.
2/B, okay, because y'all know I like my numbers and my letters. Having someone in your circle that can pray for you is very important and that can be honest with you. I mean, I talked about Quincy on Sunday. Everybody needs someone, somebody at some point. So it's very important that you receive that from your circle.
Mhm.
And then 3/C, be honest with people.
Yeah.
And if a person is toxic, love them from afar and
Yes.
pray to God about them. And it shall come around if God wants it to. So y'all, love you. Thank y'all for an amazing godly talk as always. Love y'all, and we'll see y'all next time.
Right.